when you're in this industry, it can really give you a lot of opportunities to implode. And so you got to remind yourself, I am enough right now, but I want to be able to use who I am to get to what I'm able to accomplish. You have abilities and you have capabilities. Abilities, you have those right now, but capabilities are those seeds inside of you that have not yet germinated, but they are fertilized. You just need the right environment for them to grow.
Welcome to Deduct This, powered by ProConnect Tax. This is where tax professionals come together to share ideas, experiences, and fresh perspectives to help you grow your practice and your future. We're glad you're here. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Deduct This podcast with Carrie and Lexi. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Lexi. It is the week before Christmas. You can hear music everywhere, lights everywhere. We're having so much fun. We are all ready for a well-deserved break. And today we are talking about something that is really great and exciting. Not about workflows today, not about automation, but about personal development.
I'm so excited. We are going to be talking about why investing in yourself and your team might be the most powerful software upgrade your firm ever makes.
Exactly. Today, joining us is Brandon Adjei, investor finance expert and founder of Bargraph Solutions. We met Brandon at Intuit Connect a few weeks ago, and we had some of the best conversations. And so we invited him today to come on to our podcast and have a conversation about his incredible perspective and how mindset shifts and how your mindset really drives success. Brandon, we're so excited to have you today. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you all for having me. It's such a blessing. I think this topic is one of top of mark. Personal growth, personal development is one of the keys to propelling you from wherever you are to wherever you dream to be. And so I'm excited to be here to talk with you all.
I love it. This is so great. Brandon, we did talk at Connect, and you've been in the field for quite a while, over 20 years. You've done everything from auditing what was left of Enron to helping firms embrace AI. So you've literally seen the gamut of what has happened in our industry. If you want to look back on some of those experiences, how has that changed and shaped your outlook on what it means to be successful in accounting today?
Yeah, I tell you, it's true. Everything you just said, I definitely can tell you that seeing the facets in a fast-paced dynamic in real time has been phenomenal. The accounting industry has grown so much. Think about it. Back in 2005, you had Sarbanes-Oxley because of Enron and all these other things that came out. And now you have AI giving auditors guidance. So that's something that did not happen even 10 years ago. And being a part of the AI CPA and just what they're doing to make sure that things go in a nice, efficient manner has also been very dynamic. One of the things I can tell you is that the future is now. There's not going to be a world without AI, especially in the accounting realm or taxation realm. We're just seeing what is going to transpire. It's going to be exciting to watch and be a part of.
Agreed.
Absolutely. We talked about this at Intuit Connect, and I want to bring it up again. And you've said something very powerful multiple times on different pieces of content that you have out there. It's all about how powerful personal development is one of the firm's best investments. What do you mean by that? And can you explain a little bit more to some of the people listening about what that really means and what that looks like?
Yeah. So here's a quote from a very wise person. I think his name was Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn. In order to get to where you want to be, you probably have to do something you've never done. So having an efficient clarity and subscribing to an ideal of, what I want to be, I am enough right now, but I want to be able to use who I am to get to what I'm able to accomplish. You have abilities and you have capabilities. Abilities, you have those right now, but capabilities are those seeds inside of you that have not yet germinated, but they are fertilized. You just need the right environment for them to grow. And in order to change the outward environment that you are currently experiencing, you got to change the inward environment that you're, living. So that's going to mean changing your mindset. That's going to mean, again, you've done something the same way extended period of time. Now let's try something new. Like I said, in order to get somewhere you've never been, you're going to have to do something you've never done. Every 1,000-mile journey starts with one step. There's an old saying in Zimbabwe, how do you eat an elephant? one bite at a time. You got to take things.
Oh my gosh.
I've never heard that.
I've never heard that one. But you're exactly right. It's so true. Carrie, we were just talking about this morning. I mean,
Literally.
it applies to all things. And so you're exactly right, Brandon. It's mindset and knowing. I love what you said, capabilities and abilities. It's so true.
Yeah.
It is.
That's it.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's interesting. We were just talking about this. We were talking about there's, if a lot of people have fear of trying something new, fear of jumping in. And if there's a paralyzation that happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just have to just jump or try or put pen to paper or whatever it is.
Right.
Because I always love to say it is easier to edit than it is to create. Right. And
yes.
So once you can get something out there, whether it's an action, it's an attitude, it's something tangible, something you have to write and put down. If you put something out there, then you can riff off of it and you can figure out what you want to augment and tweak and things like that. But that first step stops people in their tracks. And it's amazing how powerful that is to get past that.
Yeah. Like Carrie, I'm so glad you brought that up. Fear is something that stifles people, whether they realize it or not. Sometimes it's like being in a prison, even though they're not in a physical prison, but in their mind, or they let something go through it. A lot of accountants have PTSD. It's just they don't call it PTSD; they call it burnout.
Right.
And then they like the comfort of whatever the job had been. That job gave them comfort. I had a salary. I had this. I had that. They're not ready to go out and walk on water, so to speak, to see what they're able to accomplish on their own. That's one of the things. Like even with me, when I was at Deloitte, I got a chance when I started with Deloitte, being on that Prisma Energy, aka Enron engagement. I was able to learn much on that engagement as I did practically in school, because there was so much things that were going on between legal, between accounting, between new laws that are being written in Congress, at the same time. And it just was unlike anything else. And it gave me a lot of overview and the dichotomy of how things can be on the worst end of the spectrum, going through and all the rest. My grandfather had told, he's a preacher from East Texas. I mean, we're all kind of from East Texas, like Jasper, Kirbyville area. That fear is false evidence appearing real. It's a freaking acronym. False evidence appearing real. And if that's the case, you have to be conscious of that. You have to be conscious. Even knowing it is one thing, but you got to be conscious of it in whatever moment you're facing it, right? And I've learned just from wisdom that you have to be conscious also of your purpose. And your purpose needs to be over fear. It's an equation. Purpose over fear equals progress. That's straight up an equation. Purpose over fear equals progress. That's what you have to do. It's not that fear is a denominator. It's that fear is overcome by the purpose that you are focusing on. When you're focused on your purpose, you're going to have propelled towards progress. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So something you just touched on a little bit earlier was the You Are Enough exercise. And so you said that you had read about this, and I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about that and how you think about it with regards to affirming. How did it come about?
Yeah. So, when you're in this industry, it can be tough. You're working a bunch of hours. You're away from your family. You're around people you may or may not like. It can really give you a lot of opportunities to implode and not exercise self-care. So, and a lot of times also when you're going through work papers and those work papers, the work that you've done, you spend all those hours on, somebody who's in a higher position than you at that moment in time is going to review that, and they're going to give you a bunch of critical feedback. Some people are more critical than others. Some people they're really extremely personal with their criticism. And if somebody doesn't have tough skin, or they don't have the wherewithal, or they don't have enough self-love, self-worth, man, that's going to do damage to their confidence and everything else. And so, but the thing is, we are all human beings. We need to treat each other equally. If you know that we all, are made in the image of our source. And so what I would say is, if you feel like, you don't know where you are, don't know where you belong, and you have all these things that's on the outside that's giving you, fear, you got to remind yourself, you know what, I am, and then start off whatever you got, I am, and whatever's after that sentence is going to become true. I am fearful, I'm afraid, I'm a phony, I'm an imposter. Okay, then that's what you're going to be. Whatever you think is going to occur. But you know what? I am more than I'm more able to do this. I am capable to do this. I am more than who I think I am. I am enough. You start off with that. That's going to build up that seed that we were talking about earlier. Is going to germinate. And that's that whole mindset, germination process, the environment being more inclined to helping you growth. That's the fertilizer you need. It's a fertilizer. It's something to give you exponential growth. And it's the more you believe it, it's again, small steps, but you got to do this every day. Get
it's
better.
A muscle that you work, right?
Muscle, yes,
it's just like anything else. Brandon, I have to stop you. Listen, you're going to die. I resonate with that so well because I consider myself like a high achiever, right? Like I'm a doer, I'm type A, okay, pat myself on the back. No, but right? But no, okay. But listen, this is what's funny. You want to know what's on? But that's because I work at it every single day. And you want to know what's on my laptop? There is a sticker on my laptop that I'm looking at right now that says, never forget how wildly capable you are. And it's exactly what you're talking about. And it's not that I forget. It's that we all have imposter syndrome. We all have moments that we're like, I don't know how to solve this. But what you just said, it's a muscle to be worked. It is a mindset. And it is a shift that every person has to work every day at it. But I'm just dying because I literally have that on my laptop. Because
she does.
I just wrote it down. That's
right.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
I just, again, it's not something, and I think for some people too, that doesn't come easy because it's out of their, especially in the accounting and tax industry, right? Like in the finance, like that is a very much, typically that's a certain kind of person that likes low risk and things like that. And so I think I love what you're saying because no matter who you are, it's exactly what they need to be doing. And everyone, all of us, it's a reminder to all of us, like it's a muscle to be worked.
It is. Well, and you guys are more eloquent than me because my favorite saying is fake it till you make it. Because but it's true. Because if you project that you know what you're doing, quite frankly, people will believe you is instantly, even if you don't, even if you're like, oh my gosh, they're totally going to see right through this. Just again, 1 foot forward, just put it out there and be like, yeah, let's go. You have to be okay with failure. I'm a massive believer, and I'm sure I've said it on here before, is that you also learn more from your failures than you do from your successes.
100%.
I tell my team this all the time. It's not like every day you're like, I'm so amazing at everything I did. If you did, then you're not pushing yourself hard enough, first of all, because you have to fail in order to learn. But again, I think it's you got to put yourself out there and you got to risk you have to risk making yourself look a little foolish sometimes in order to grow and learn. And I love your Enron example of every day we're learning something different, right? Talk about imploding, right? Enron is a perfect example of that. But I can imagine all the different stakeholders and all the different people and all the different emotions that were happening at that time I'm guessing not only every day was a learning, every minute with you learning something net new. Yeah. And so you couldn't be an expert in everything. You had to just be like, let's go. What's today?
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out and bring the right people in the room and the right mentors. And I think that just now that I'm thinking about this too, I think people are afraid to ask for help and learn from others. I really do feel that way. Sure. And no matter what industry you're in. And I just think, Brandon, I know you've coined the phrase, the muscle emoji mindset. And that's exactly what that is, strength, perseverance. Talk a bit about that and leaning on people where you don't have as many strengths in that you want to learn from.
So thank you for bringing that up. So let me tell you first, I'm a fan of comic books. Growing up, I really was. I had a really interesting childhood, moved a lot just because of, just things going on in life. But comic books were really helpful for me. The Word of God, the Bible was also extremely helpful for me. But Batman was one of my favorite characters. And for whatever reason, they would call me that when I was running track. And the thing about Batman, everything happened with him, very psychologically traumatizing for him. But he learned to subscribe to an ideal of being something that was more, he'll be the Dark Knight. He'll be the fear. Because what got me about Batman, he didn't have any superpowers. He was just whoever he was. But the guy's biggest fear was bats. Yet he still became Batman.
I didn't know that. I literally did not know that.
That's the craziest thing.
That's because we watch the movies, not the comics, Carrie.
So every time he put on like the mask, it's like he's taking
someone else.
He like all the opposition, everything. He's taking it on, and he's going to convert it into a fire, a fuel, to go persevere. Same thing with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was known for being able to overcome, because if anybody trash talked him or whatnot, because his brothers growing up, he didn't really learn to play basketball till he was like maybe high school. I mean, like a senior, junior in high school.
Wow.
So his brothers were way taller than him. They always beat him, but he felt like, if I can overcome my brothers in a game, I can overcome anybody. So when he got to college, he just started building this, tenacious appetite, and he would just purposely take whatever negative some fuel or something that somebody had told him, and just internalize it, but he'll come back and snack with it. Me personally, when I was getting my master's in accountancy, there was a teacher, was an oil and gas accounting teacher professor that, my test in the first test I took, I got a 21 on my grade. Like that was my grade. I was like, oh great, what?
You're like,
what? that's my age. We're in trouble. And then the guy told me, you don't belong here. You don't need to be in my class. You need to get out of here. All this stuff. And I said, you know what? And by the way, accounting was not like my favorite subject, But when he told me that, I got so like angry, but in a way where I channeled it
in a good way.
Oh yeah.
In a way that it was effective. And I just took on that muscle. And just said, you know what, we're going to soldier on. We're going to power through this. It's just like Samson in the Bible. Like Samson, he was strong all the time. He was strong, but he didn't get the supernatural strength until the moment he met that moment. Like it wasn't until he's fighting the Philistines and all the rest. He never used his supernatural powers to go rip up a cow and feed steaks to everybody. He only used it for when the moment was met by him. And again, those seeds that were germinating, they were able to blossom and flourish. So that muscle emoji for me is encompassing anything that reflects something good, some strength, victories, reminding myself of victories that have happened in the past. I look at that kind of stuff every day. If I won something, if something I overcame, I would write it down the date in a journal. I write it down the date, what happened, what the situation was, how we overcame it, and the outcome. And then, I look at that kind of stuff. If there's like a particular date, like the day is the 17th, for me, the number of 17 is a number of victory. I look at things that have presence to me. I know on this year, 15 years ago, I had won my first client on this day.
Aww.
Yeah. So I won my first client, and it was like before I left the firm, it was like I'm just giving advice to people, and it worked. And they were like, you know what, man, there's something here. I can actually probably do this on my own. Again, take that risk, like Carrie was saying, taking that first step to see what else is out there, see what this world has to offer you. Being able to go forward and multiply that seed that you have, germinate it, bring fruit, and execute,
Yep, absolutely.
And help somebody else.
Yeah. So one thing we were talking about when we met you back at Connect is we were talking about COVID, which can you believe is almost 6 years ago. It feels like yesterday, which is crazy. Wow. And it feels weird that we even still talk about it. But I think people still mention it. We've actually mentioned it a ton on this podcast, is that it was a transition period for a ton of people. People shifted their lives, their perspectives, their families, their jobs, their work-life balance. Everything. Anyone who says it didn't touch them in a profound way is insane, right? Or insane is probably not the right word, but for everyone I know, it really truly touched them. And you had mentioned that you felt like it was a big turning point for a lot of professionals. I know it was for me. I know it was a lot for my peers. So, and you found that people became more self-aware. Right? Yes. How did you take that and use it as sort of the seed to shape the culture of your firm?
Yeah. Oh wow, great question, proper question. So before COVID, I'm in Houston, in Texas here, Hook'em Horns and everything. We had Harvey, right? So Harvey was like the big hurricane, all the flooding happened. I lost my office. A lot of people lost everything. What happened in there, I ended up being able to make the decision to become paperless. So back then, 3 years earlier, we had gone through the change process to go paperless. That in fast forward to 2020, by the time COVID happened, I said, you know what, we're in a good position. People who were living in Houston said, you know what, I'm done with Houston. I'm going somewhere it doesn't flood. And they were in other states. And they're like, Brandon, hey, you did our taxes or you did our solution for us back in 2017, 2018. Can you help us here? I'm in Ohio. I'm in California. I'm in New York. Can you help us now? I said, yeah. And they said, oh, by the way, we have a friend. Can we refer them to you? So instead of me just being in my vacuum, like McDonald's founders were when they first had that one location in California, I said, you know what? I'm going to spread my wings and I'm going to take on these people from other states. I'm going to not just stay here in Houston. I'm paperless. I have a cloud-based system. I've invested in technology. This is all part of transitions for me. I've got everything I need to succeed to help people that I never even meet. Like I'll never shake their hand or have dinner with them or lunch with them. So I said, so that transition allowed me to have the confidence to go forward and say, we've already got the framework for being able to take care of people remotely. So I took on that opportunity, and then it just, it exploded for us. COVID was really
amazing.
We help people in Alaska, Hawaii, all over the country, not just Houston and the surrounding areas. And so,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, you're exactly right. Technology clearly played a huge role in all of that transformation. And I know, again, not to reference Connect again, but we were talking about like the different softwares and tools that you use. And you've said before that you're a huge fan of ProConnect Tax, and that was part of that transformation, as well as a few other Intuit products. What stands out to you most about them to invest in those and to continue to invest in those?
The customer service experience. The way you guys support your customers, I'd say, is unparalleled.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, we had a client. It wasn't a client. It was kind of like a fellow CPA who's I think he passed away, and his daughter was also a CPA. So we were able to transition that practice. But seeing how you guys had supported them through that process, I came over and helped them do some returns or whatnot because her dad was really like a 40-year CPA guy, but just the way ProConnect helped with the transition, they didn't like block her from accessing the software platform as an administrator. She had all the credentials to say yes, he passed away and gave all that stuff, but it's just the way they supported her, because I've seen other companies that I'm not going to mention that if that same scenario happened, like they blocked whoever the next of kin was or whoever they was, because they would say this person has to come and sign off for you to be able to have access. Well, this person's dead. They can't sign off on anything. So they got the money for their software, but a bunch of people's returns weren't able to be done, and these businesses failed because of not being able to meet the moment, and they weren't in a position to. But the way ProConnect has supported their customers is unparalleled. I mean, it doesn't really matter about the price tag at that point. Just the way the software, obviously you guys are at a price point where you're taking money, and not just taking money, it's like you're reinvesting back in the business to make it improve. You guys listen
There's
to
value.
Customers,
Yeah.
value, a lot of value add.
Yep.
And you listen to your customers. Well, so it's just, and you put it in the software. I mean, everything is just phenomenal. The customer service experience and just how you guys add value is just second to none.
That's awesome. So digging into the software specifically and talking about the transformation that you made when you went paperless, when you were starting to serve clients all over the country and out, and like you said, in Alaska and Hawaii and everywhere out of the state.
Yep.
What you've said this before, ProConnect has continued to evolve with the needs of professionals. What does that mean? Like, as from an actual standpoint of the software, what does that mean to you? What have you seen over the last few years with ProConnect?
Yeah, the online version, the cloud-based version, as opposed to like the desktop version. The cloud-based version has been very efficient. The software updates have been very efficient. The fact that you guys are able to do 1099s and W-2s within the software, as opposed to going to a competitor to go get 1099s and W-2s done for clients, that's also obviously helped make things efficient. And plus, if a professional service provider is savvy, they're going to probably charge for the 1099s and the W-2s that they're able to e-file for those clients as a separate line item from just the preparation itself, even though they're paying ProConnect like the same amount, like whatever the amount is of the package level that they have chosen, if they have the option that includes the W-2s and 1099s, they can still make more revenue off of that. So you gave them another opportunity by having that
A
available.
revenue stream.
Stream, if they're smart enough to see that, open up their eyes and see. Yeah. So that's a couple of examples.
That's awesome.
So one of the things that you were talking about a little bit earlier, again, is you've seen technology take over, whether it's a software or using online software, things like that. AI is the big topic right now. Everybody's talking about it. You even mentioned, like, it's not going away. I'm a massive believer. It's not going away. It's my favorite thing ever. And how do you, when people, when you talk to different firm owners and they think about this kind of taking over their roles or their jobs and kind of having a little bit of fear, how do you think that firm owners can kind of keep that human element alive in their teams while blending AI there and
Great
finding
question.
that mix?
Great question. It's going to be the framing of how they see AI. If you cannot look at AI as the end all be all, they have to frame it such that AI is a tool, just like the computer is a tool. That computer that we're on, a mobile device, these are tools. They can't drive the car for you. They can't type your beautiful essay. You know what I'm saying? They can't put together any type of equations for you. All they can do is execute what you're inputting. And you have to look at AI like that. It can never really succeed without a human element.
Absolutely.
It's a servant of humans. You have to look at it like that. It's not a part of your family. It's a servant. It's a tool. It doesn't love you. It's just here to serve you.
Some may argue.
Yeah.
Some of those headlines, I'm like, man, that is interesting.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. It's the power of artificial intelligence, and it's the power of it paired with human intelligence. And it's supposed to be back to your example of Batman. Talk about, that's how I feel. I feel like Wonder Woman now with the tools. I mean, all day, every day, but there's still my brain, my stamp, my thought process. It's a starting point, like Carrie said earlier, and it's powerful.
Yeah. Well, and I think what people forget is that you still have to have the EQ, right? The conversations with your customers.
Yes.
Oh, Mary, how's your kids? I remember you talking about Bobby and Sue and what happened with it. It's not going to tell you to go do that. I mean, they might be like, Mary has children, Bobby and Sue. And so you can remember that in your notes, but you still have to be able to connect with people because again, if you're robotic in your communication, you're not going to grow those that client base and have that relationship. People hire accounting pros, one, because they're good at doing the numbers and the taxes, but they also want to have a relationship typically with people. And they want to be able to talk about what is going on and ideate and have questions and things like that and talk. The AI doesn't do that. And I think people think you're right, that it's the end all be all, but it's really truly the marrying of the person with the technology. What do you use the technology for and what do you use the human for, and figure out where your best part is in that, and you play those parts.
If you look if you look at just history, technology from thousands of years, before the eons, before the Egyptians, all the way to like the cotton gin and all the rest, and just the steam engine, everything is used to help you be more efficient at getting from one place to another. Either mentally transferring an idea to materialization, or you're transporting physically. It's just to help you be more efficient with your time. And that's what you got to look at. Time, the only real currencies that there are time, faith, and air. If something's taken away from your air, then you probably don't need to be around that situation. If something's adding value to your time, then look at maybe utilizing that more and more in an efficient way. And the only way you're really going to have faith, is by applying whatever you're capable of doing to your situation. That's when they say faith without works is dead. That's what that means. That means, you're applying whatever you've heard or read, you got the knowledge, and, you're applying it now to your life and executing. So AI is not your life. You're just using it as a tool. Like you have 5 fingers on this hand. Each of them have a purpose, especially the thumb, right? So especially this one when you're driving. And so what ends up happening, but the point is like with individually, this hand is not whole without all of it. So you use these individual digits to what their purpose serves you for. The whole hand comes together to help you propel and grab what you need and get to where you need to go. So again, you just look at it as a tool that's going to be the framing of your vision and your perspective. Make sure your perspective is not giving AI too much power and too much clout. You are the powerful one. You're the supreme one. You got to look at yourself as a king or a queen, and that this is one of your subjects. Your AI is one of your subjects. It's not your lord. I mean, it's one of your subjects. Your
Yeah.
servants.
Yeah, it's so great. And as we are around the corner of 2026, which is wild, I can't even wrap my head that we are just a couple of weeks away from the new year.
Yeah.
I love this conversation. I think it's so fitting because it is all about mindset. It's that everyone feels refreshed and renewed in January. It's just nature,
Yeah.
And so this is such a great topic that we've had today, and we're just so thankful for your time and just that you've shown us that truly never forget how wildly capable you are. The mindset shift and powered again with all the technology is just unstoppable as we go into the new year. So, Brandon, thank you again so much for your time today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Carrie.
Yeah, no, I want to thank you too. I really enjoyed our conversation. I love that we kind of literally spanned every single topic you could imagine. And that's why I love this podcast. I love that I never really know where we're going to go with it. And so I think it's amazing. So that's it for this episode of Deduct This. For more insights from Brandon, connect with him on LinkedIn or check out Bargraph Solutions. Until next time, thank you.
Thanks for being part of Deduct This, powered by ProConnect Tax. If today's conversation gave you something new to think about, visit accountants.intuit.com for more insights and resources made for professionals like you. We'll be right here, helping you turn expertise into opportunity.